As beginners, it's very easy for you to fall into the traps of fate studies. Hello everyone, today we're recording a different kind of video. We've always felt that if fate has given us such a good natal chart and if we know how to interpret it, maybe we can be less superstitious. That's why we've worked hard to make a lot of free videos. By watching these videos, you can understand what astrology is really about. In many of these videos, we also take the opportunity to point out which explanations are actually trying to deceive you. Some things just don't make sense at all. Those are tricks in fortune telling meant to fool beginners. And it's very easy for you to fall into these traps. The first pitfall in learning metaphysics is this. When you start learning Zi Wei Shu, or watching my videos, or even videos from many other teachers, when you're choosing which videos or books to follow, I have two suggestions for you. The first suggestion is to consider whether this book or video, does what they're saying make sense? By making sense, I mean, do they tell you things that sound very direct and absolute? For example, do they say that a certain type of person is just a supporting character, just an employee, and that if this type of person becomes a boss, they'll end up doomed? Or do they claim that if the Qixia star is in the spouse palace, your relationships will always be bad for your whole life? If you hear arguments like these, that's illogical. What do I mean by illogical? Think about it. Qixia in the spouse palace. If you work out all the possible combinations, there are only so many. How could it be that just because Qixia is in the spouse palace, your relationships are bound to be bad? Take Taiwan's divorce rate, for example. Within 10 years, 50% of people get divorced. And among those who do not divorce, probably a large portion are just putting on a front while being emotionally distant. So does that mean we can basically say that almost everyone has bad relationships since everyone supposedly has these relationship issues? So why is it that only the Qixia star supposedly has this problem? In fact, after Jumen, people say relationships are bad too. Why would that be? Pojun can also have issues, and really, any combination of stars can. So when you see this kind of thing, use logical thinking and look at the percentages. If a book seems problematic after this kind of analysis, then of course you shouldn't bother with it. Oh, that's because when this teacher was writing, they didn't even consider whether what they wrote made any logical sense. So when it comes to books or videos, if you come across this kind of reasoning, I would basically suggest that you don't need to take it into consideration. That's the second situation. Throughout the entire course, I talk to you about classical Chinese texts. My students who attend my classes will know that what I teach is very closely related to classical Chinese. I don't even use the perspectives of modern people. I simply discuss how these classical texts are interpreted. You must have the ability to interpret these classical texts logically. If a teacher, a video, a book, or a blog article answers questions simply by quoting classical text directly, and the explanations lack logical reasoning, then basically there's no need to pay attention to it, because that teacher doesn't actually have the ability to form good insights from classical text on their own. So all they can do is answer you with the original text, or it means they simply don't have the ability to interpret the true meaning of the ancients. So if you see an entire piece like this, constantly throwing a lot of jargon at you, and then using classical language to talk about yin and yang or other such things, some mysterious terms that seem understandable at first glance but are actually quite confusing, then you'll probably lose interest in the book after just a few pages. If there's no logical structure, you can basically disregard it because that means the author themselves doesn't really have the ability to properly organize the material. We need to develop our own ability to select quality resources, and that's very important. Why? Because when you study fate and destiny, your goal is to improve your own ability to make better life decisions. If you don't even have the ability to judge what books you should read, how can you possibly master this subject? The second point, whether or not you should learn charting, this is a topic that a large number of people support. Because, well, after you learn how to chart, you'll know which star corresponds to which palace and which new star corresponds to which palace. Then you'll also understand which stars are related to the day stem, year stem, and month stem. Each of these has a different meaning, and some people even emphasize that if they hear someone's birth date and time, they can immediately draw up a chart by hand. Is it really that important? Let me tell you all. I used to be someone who could chart by hand. Which means I've now forgotten it all. With charting software being so convenient nowadays, do we really still need to draw up the chart by hand ourselves? Aside from looking cool and impressive, those legends that claim you can understand the theory just by doing this, well, I have to be honest with everyone, that's actually impossible. Now, it's undeniable that for some new techniques, the way they are charted does indicate at which point in time they will appear. But I also have to say, when you're a beginner, you really don't need these new techniques, nor do you need to know about them. So whether or not to manually chart your birth chart, I'd tell everyone, don't get hung up or insist on this. The software nowadays is excellent. Let the computer handle this kind of thing. The third question is Zi Wei Astrology? If it is astrology, then you should take your birth chart, put your Zi Wei star in that position and look up at the sky. You'll find that the North Star is also in that spot. But you'll notice that if you compare your birth chart to the sky on the day you were born, you'll find that the Zi Wei star isn't actually there. So Zi Wei definitely isn't astrology. True astrology uses the intersecting orbits of celestial bodies to make predictions about fate. The advantage of this kind of fate calculation is that, for example, my moon follows this path, and every year it moves along this trajectory. It doesn't randomly change which of my stars will align with which other star. Yes, they will align. Oh, it's fixed, at least in principle. So, compared to the I Ching and the Chinese approach, which heavily relies on natural intuition, this method is much more rigorous and has a solid theoretical foundation. What's called Dao Shu actually uses the logical principles of astrology, combined with traditional methods like Qindunjia and the I Ching. Bazi and Feng Shui are used for diagnosing problems and making improvements in these major areas. So the so-called Dou Shu nowadays is definitely not about disaster or bloodshed. When we talk about Dou Shu, its main structure is the combination of the heart and the palace positions. Therefore, for beginners, we suggest don't focus on those minor things like Long Di, Tian Yao, and so on. These are very minor auxiliary stars. The main focus should be on the combination of the 12 palaces and the 14 main stars, along with some malefic stars and the 4 transformations. And also some simple auxiliary stars like Zuofu, Yubi, Tiankui, Tianyue, as well as Wenchang, Wenqiu, Hongluan, Tianxi. These are some very basic auxiliary stars. Honestly, when you're just starting out, apart from these, you really don't need to look at anything else. It's just like building a house. If the very foundation of a house isn't properly laid and the structural walls aren't built well, but you keep discussing things like, oh, should I use a delicate ceramic faucet or a sturdy brass one? Will this particular choice affect my personal feng shui? It's the same with Zi Wei Dou Shu. The main structure of Zi Wei Dou Shu is the palaces and the stars. If you don't understand these, everything else is just nonsense. So, what about the palaces? The first and most important thing you need to pay attention to is that Zi Wei Dou Shu actually has a natal chart, which is the chart we usually see based on your year of birth. The chart you get is called the natal chart, but there are also decade charts, minor period charts, and annual charts. The decade chart is where under each palace, you'll see a set of numbers, and those numbers are spaced 10 years apart. If you treat that box as the life palace, and since there are 12 palaces, you get another chart for that 10-year period, which is called the decade chart. The annual chart is the chart generated for each year. The palaces in the natal chart only represent your personality traits, abilities, and thoughts. Oh, it basically doesn't represent actual events, except for a very few specific palaces. The decade chart, on the other hand, represents both your thoughts and the events that arise from those thoughts, as well as the phenomena caused by your environment in a given year, which is shown in the annual chart. The minor period chart corresponds to a younger age, for example, now at age 31. In the year you turn 30, what decisions did you make and what results did you get? The fundamental basis of each chart is different, so the meaning of each palace is completely different. For example, if I want to discuss my current relationship status, I would look at the natal chart's spouse palace. That's not reasonable. My current romantic partner won't necessarily appear in my natal spouse palace. If they do, it's just a coincidence. For example, if your spouse palace says Takeshi Kaneshiro, then you won't love anyone who doesn't look like Takeshi Kaneshiro, and that's the kind of man you choose. And his name is also Takeshi Kaneshiro. It's just a coincidence, simply because that's my personal preference. But choosing someone like this doesn't mean your natal chart is the same as your fortune chart. Okay, this is something people often get wrong. So, the main point about the palace position is that you need to understand your own palace position. It's about which chart it appears in, so you won't get confused. What's the fifth key point about the new stars? Well, what is it? Any interpretation of the new stars does not need to correspond to the palace position. For example, the Tanlang star is called desire. So if I place it in a certain palace, does that mean I will have desire for that palace? For example, if it's placed in the wealth palace, then I have desires regarding money. If I put it in the spouse palace, then I have desires in my relationships. So you can't say that just because the Tanlang star is a peach blossom star, placing it in the wealth palace means, wow, this person spends all their money on the opposite sex. Is that reasonable or not? Of course, it's possible because I have the desire to spend money. And this desire to spend might end up being spent on the opposite sex. But it doesn't necessarily mean you'll definitely spend all your money on women. It just means it can represent romantic entanglements. Actually, it's only in the spouse palace because the spouse palace represents relationships. And what else? In the life palace, because the life palace, it governs all 12 palaces at the same time. So the life palace will simultaneously influence all 12 palaces. In this case, you can only say this much. So this Tan Lang star, it does have the meaning of romance. Every interpretation of a star must correspond to its palace. As long as it has nothing to do with the palace, then it's irrelevant. All right? You can't just interpret it directly like that. When you're first learning, when you're studying new stars, you also have to approach it this way. So you need to learn each palace in correspondence. It's like when we learn English, memorizing vocabulary words is really painful. So how can you remember vocabulary more effectively? You have to memorize them within sentences. That's the only way you can use them directly and become proficient. Many people, when they're just starting out, will memorize some materials. Like, for example, the Juman star is associated with a lot of disputes or with a gloomy aura and so on. like the Zi Wei star's planetary core, or that it needs to be noble, and so on. But in reality, among the 14 main stars on the Zi Wei Dao Shu chart, there are actually dozens of different combinations. In other words, what you really need to learn is those combinations. So how do you master them? It's not just about a single star, not just one star at a time. That's actually a rather simplistic concept. For example, the Tan Lang star, its opposition could be Wu Q, or it could be Zi Wei, or even Lian Zhen. Each combination with Tan Lang is completely different. So when you're learning, you really have to be careful. Don't just try to memorize it by force, like what is Tan Lang? You really need to understand what Tan Lang's opposition is. I have desires and my opposition might be my inner self. If my inner self is Wu Q, then my desires will be very selfless. So when you're studying each star, this is a really crucial point. It's not just about the opposition. You also need to look at what its companion star is. The main star next to it will also influence you. So all of these will have different interpretations. For example, take Tan Lang. If its opposition is Wu Ku, because Wu Ku is very pragmatic, it will approach its desires in a practical way. Therefore, it's generally considered that when Tan Lang is in the Fuxi Palace and you add a peach blossom star and some Sha Qi, inauspicious energy, this kind of combination would be very flirtatious. But in the Wu Q group, it's actually relatively less so, because Wu Q will consider, if I keep being flirtatious like this, will I lose my alimony? Or if I keep this up, will I have to pay a lot of alimony? In that case, I won't do it. All right, so at this point, you can't just say that this person is a smooth operator. For all new students, you must look at what star is in your life palace and what star is in your corresponding palace. Only by learning this way can you be accurate. Otherwise, it will just become a very superficial style of interpretation. This is also one such example. It's something that can easily mislead everyone. In fate studies, whether it's Zi Wei, Bazi, or any other system, they all have the concept of structure or pattern. However, it's very easy for everyone because they don't want to study in depth and only want to quickly learn superficial things, to start hoping like, wow, I'm the Qisha Kao Tu pattern, or wow, I'm the Ryu Bingming pattern. It's as if once I have this pattern, I'll become a certain way. Is it really like that? I can tell everyone it's absolutely not like that. In the study of fate, there's a saying, if you have a pattern, discuss the pattern. If you don't, discuss wealth and status. In other words, wealth and status are actually more important if you're considering whether someone will have prosperity and riches in their life. Why do we say this? Why don't they tell you, if you have a pattern, discuss the pattern. If you don't, you're doomed, you're finished if you lack structure. Clearly, that's not the case, right? So what is the concept of structure like? The idea of structure is more like when we're playing mahjong. You draw your tiles and find that out of the 16 tiles, the first 13 are all circles. Only the last 3 tiles are different. If I swap out those last 3 and make them all the same suit, that's called a pure hand, right? That's how you win big. But by combining different sets of tiles, you might be able to win even more. That's what structure is. In other words, what life has given you from the start, a pretty good hand. Anyone who has played cards knows. Can you always get a pure hand? Can you always get the big 4 wins? Can you always get those big hands? Not necessarily. And if you can't always get them, sometimes the risk is even greater, because in order to go for those big hands, you end up sacrificing a lot. So the concept of structure basically is to give you a general classification. Whether or not you get this general classification, it tells you roughly what kind of person you are. It's just like when you get your hand in a card game. If you know how to play, you can tell, oh, with this hand, I can make this kind of combination or that kind of set. All right, because what kind of combination you have is just about getting close to it. That's basically all there is to it. But this doesn't mean you're exactly like that, okay? It's just that we tend to see only this part. The book might say, wow, this person will shake the borders with their power, or wow, they'll be wealthy in their later years. See, you only notice the wealthy in later years part, but you don't see the other conditions that are required for that to happen. All right, so is the structure important or not? The structure can be seen as a basic probability, a way to know what kind of person someone is. Are malefic stars scary? Many beginners get really, really scared when they see malefic stars. In Zi Wei Doshu, malefic stars represent our most primitive desires, impulses, fiery tempers, and inner conflicts. They are essentially your various underlying emotions. And what's scary about emotions is that they're hard to control. When your emotions get out of control and erupt, they become a disaster. But is it necessarily always something scary? First of all, we need to understand that people can't be perfect. If we were perfect, we would have already transcended the 6 realms of reincarnation, right? The fact that we're still here means people can't be perfect. People are bound to have emotions, and people are bound to have certain desires. There will always be things that we can't control. However, if you channel these things in the right direction, they aren't necessarily bad. For example, if you see a girl being bullied on the street and your Mars energy bursts out, you rush over and beat up the bully, and the girl might think, oh, a hero saving the damsel in distress, right? Maybe you end up together because of that. So is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. So the key with the malefic star is that our emotions need to be used in the right place. The natal chart also tells us when we should control our emotions and when we should let them out. As our saying goes, if you use the malefic star well, life is free of worries. In Zi Wei Shu, when using the 4 transformations, there are all kinds of different schools. When many people are just starting out, they look at this method, then check out that method. Although it can get quite confusing, we have to tell everyone here that no matter which school you follow, you need to return to the fundamentals. In other words, the original meaning of the 4 transformations is that each star will change according to the time and space environment. Different changes are just like having a tree in your yard. This tree, through spring, summer, autumn, and winter, its leaves might go from budding to flourishing to withering to drying up, but it's still the same tree. However, the feeling that tree gives you, and that tree itself, if you place it there, having a yellowing tree in your yard, or a withered tree, or a tree full of lush leaves, doesn't the feeling you get from your yard change as well? This is the basic concept of the 4 transformations and the 7 deep environments, which cause this tree to undergo different changes. Basically, the 4 transformations are changes brought about by the environment acting on this new element. The fundamental logic of the 4 transformations still depends on the 4 transformation conditions present in your natal chart and fortune chart. If you're not yet proficient with other aspects, focus on these first. If you insist on forcing it, talking about things like self-transformation and so on, it usually just ends up being a joke because you haven't really grasped the underlying logic. Earlier, we mentioned that the environment causes changes to the new element. Since it's the environment affecting the new element, you absolutely cannot leave out the new element itself. If you do, then every transformation, whether it's transformation of energy, transformation of entry, or transformation of authority, will be off. The meanings are usually different. The transformation of energy for the sun, Wook, or Lianzhen each has a completely different meaning. How could you possibly use just one transformation of energy in the spouse palace to explain it? How am I supposed to know if you're talking about the greedy transformation of energy or which one it actually is? How can you use just one transformation of authority in the wealth palace to explain it? How do I know whether it's the natural, the sun's, or Zi Wei's transformation of authority? Or if it's Wook's transformation of authority, they all have completely different meanings, so don't interpret it like that. If you interpret it that way, at first it might sound reasonable, but after studying for a while, you'll realize it doesn't work at all, and it becomes very confusing. Any theory, if you don't explore it from the fundamental logic, the end result will just be confusion, and you'll lose your sense of direction. So when it comes to the 4 transformations, this is something you absolutely must keep in mind when you first start learning. You must remember this, no matter what. Don't study things in isolation, like thinking, oh, what does it mean if my official star transforms into the K star? Never do that, because each K is different. Many people worry about the Hua Ji, but if you look at the character Ji, it refers to a deficiency in your own heart. It's an emptiness inside. An emptiness in the heart always makes people uncomfortable, unhappy, and unsatisfied. It always makes people feel uneasy. But it can also be understood as the concept of motivation in the 4 transformations, right? Besides having to look at which star it is, the more important point is that you also need to understand its fundamental meaning, rather than just being afraid when you see it. For example, if Po Jun transforms into Lu, and Lu is in the wealth palace, it seems really good. Oh, a lot of books write it this way. When Hua Lu is in the wealth palace, it means you'll make a lot of money. When Po Jun transforms into Lu in the wealth palace, especially in the luck cycle chart, it means you have to sell something or lose something to get money. Is it always good to gain wealth through breaking or dismantling? Is it always a lot? Not necessarily. If you buy a car for 3 million and sell it for 1 million, that's also Po Jun transforming into Lu. The reason why many people, after studying Zi Wei Shu for a while, can't give very nuanced explanations is that they're missing the real essence. If you can't do that, you're wasting this very complete system. To sum up the previous 9 points, the 10th and final point I must tell everyone is this. In Zi Wei Shu, it's about the combination of the palace positions and the new elements, which means it's about the relationship between a person and their environment. So when we study, we must look at it from this perspective. You'll be able to discern whether a certain school of thought makes sense or whether what a particular teacher says is reasonable. This applies to myself as well. I always try my best to use theory and logic to point out my own mistakes in interpreting classical texts, and even to discover better ways to use them. When we learn, we must do the same. From when I was a beginner to now, when I have a bit of a reputation, I've always used this method, so I share this with everyone as encouragement. When you encounter a lot of confusing information, you should actually return to the fundamental logic of Zi Wei Shu and then examine all the materials you receive to see if they make sense. If something is unreasonable, you don't even need to question it further. I hope these 10 points can help all of you beginners to better understand how to distinguish and evaluate information. By the way, let me also introduce our association. There are 2 other teachers, Teacher Yue and Teacher Hupo, who also have channels under our association. Apart from myself, Teacher Yue will especially share with everyone some little tips, fun facts, or small tricks related to Zi Wei Shu. For example, things that you know you're not supposed to do, but you're still really curious about those quirky tidbits, you know? How do you calculate the heavenly stems and earthly branches? What does Yang Ming mean? What is a yin woman? Teacher Yue will talk to you about these kinds of interesting topics. That's the channel Yue recorded called Zi Wei Lollipop. And then there's also Teacher Hupo. He'll talk to everyone who really loves K-style literature. Those who love to deeply research things like why did Doshu evolve from the original terminology back in the day? Or how did Luoho and Jidu Xin get transformed? If you feel it's painful not to memorize or study and you lack some in-depth historical knowledge, then you're welcome to check out Teacher Hupo's channel. As for me, I hope to keep sharing things that help everyone quickly pick up some practical techniques in Zi Wei Doshu channel. Thank you, everyone.